It is, as you mentioned, the SEC on CBS Game of the Week. Penn State traveling to Auburn, and Auburn found itself in a very difficult situation, but was able to wiggle its way out. Penn State, we didn't give much analysis to a very lopsided victory against Ohio, though certainly you were thankful to win as a Penn State fan in the opener against Purdue, but you couldn't feel all that great about, the way the defense looked, about the way that the offensive line wasn't able to establish. And you got the highs and lows of Sean Clifford. I mean, this is TJ Finley against Sean Clifford. Can't trust either one of these quarterbacks. What do you think ends up deciding this big time Big Ten SEC showdown?
Can Auburn move the ball at all? I mean, they had 6.2 yards of play against San Jose State. You may not think Penn State's defense is a top 10 defense, but I don't think San Jose State is going for 6.2 on Penn State's defense in Happy Valley. I think Auburn's offense is terrible. So I'm really curious if they are not the worst offense in the SEC, not named Vanderbilt. And honestly, like on a good day, Vanderbilt's offense looks better.
Give me Mike Wright over TJ Finley. Let's go.
I don't think Mike Wright's the best quarterback on Vanderbilt. I think Swan is better.
Okay.
But the decisions Mike Wright makes with the ball to me are not a winning, like he's not a winning player long term if he takes care of the ball like that. But what can Auburn find a way to make this game ugly, low scoring, and close? Maybe running a lot of that Robbie Ashford pseudo wildcat stuff. Their passing game is just horrendous, man. I mean, they are against San Jose State, 14 of 23 for 168. I've been saying this is the worst receiving core in the SEC, other than Vandy, for the entire offseason. I don't think that they made good moves in the transfer portal in terms of who they brought in at receiver compared to who they lost. And they brought in Calzada to win that job, to take that job. And I was told he just flat out lost it. Like he just played poorly, which honestly, I thought he was bad at A&M for the most part. So maybe Finley plays like crazy, but this has probably got to be Auburn making Sean Clifford look bad. But I'm going to bet on Sean Clifford, who's a sixth-year guy in a hostile environment, over TJ Finley playing anywhere.
What if you sat back and you're like, whoa, you're betting on Sean Clifford on the road against a defense with a pulse?
He's played in tougher places before, done okay. At Ohio State, at Michigan, Michigan
Purdue,
State.
He came through big, but it was ugly, which is why I think there's got to be a temptation for James Franklin to make that move to Drew Allar, the backup, who played pretty well, had a couple touchdown passes late in that game and mop-up duty. But if you're Sean Clifford, you really staved off that temptation with that final drive that he had on the road. Hostile environment, like you were talking about. I mean, that was a hostile environment. He was in Big Ten conference game. This one will probably be louder. But to your question, like, can Auburn muck up this game? Absolutely they can. I mean, these are two teams that are experts at doing that. So I think they could absolutely be in a game that's, 17-13 late in the fourth, and it's been sloppy. There's been a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of punts, some fumbles, some turnovers. I think this game could be gross.
How many points wins this game?
Oh, if anybody gets to 28,
that's done. Might be a
yes.
rout.
If you told Penn State, if you still told Penn State like offense, we give you 28. They're like, hey, we're gonna sit it back here in Happy Valley. Defense, go ahead, have fun.
Yeah,
they would take 28 all day.
I think
Penn State's corners are pretty damn good. Like the emergence of John Dixon, them getting him right. John Dixon was a guy that we all knew in the South Florida 7-on-7 circuit had real ability if he could focus consistently. Like that guy could be a dude, and he was very good against Purdue. I think Penn State has the ability to play man coverage and just completely shut down Auburn's receivers and put eight in the box against Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, and that's where you just hope and pray that you don't get a shot play. You trust your corners. Hey, don't get a penalty. Like, make them hit the shot play. Make them hit the 50-yard post that's against man. See if they can do it. Dare them. And if you're Auburn, you're just hoping to hit one or two of those. And that's your majority of your offense. Because I do think more so than ever in a lot of these games that we're talking about featured a sloppy, that's the sketch week. It's perfect for it. Sketch, because you had a sloppy, ugly performance against a lesser opponent. And I think maybe even more so than ever, where there's so much coverage and anticipation, and we talk about preseason matchups, and we've had this game circled. So is Auburn. They've had this game circled for a while. So San Jose State comes to town, and you're trying to harp on them. Hey, we better make sure we beat these guys first. And players are like, yeah, whatever, coach. We're ready. We'll be ready. And then you go out there, and you got your hands full because it was San Jose State's Super Bowl. And you see that happen with Miami as well the week before. I am more of an excuser of sloppy performances, and you just hope that you get away with a win. A win is still a win. Go talk to Notre Dame and see how they feel about losing to Marshall at home. That was the ultimate hangover game. We got to go back out there this week. It's hard to get these players amped up week in and week out. But that's where I do think you find out a lot about these teams when there is no question about the motivation.